Good morning out in streaming land. Thank you for tuning in. I am Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rawl. This is the Ted Manila Information Show, or TMI for short, where we bring you way too much information. We talk about anything from news to lifestyle, politics, culture. And in this instance today, we're going to talk about how all of that is getting all mixed up in our main topic because, we all live on the interwebs, Ted. So that's what we're going to talk about. The taboo stuff, the occult, anything and everything goes, because we believe you can never have too much information. So if you are looking for that straight-laced, button-down, like corporate news style show, I'm going to warn you now, this is not going to be it for you, because we do let curse words fly. The F-bomb gets dropped quite a bit. Just saying. I don't think gratuitously.
Mostly by me.
I do sometimes. I'm trying to curb it. I'm doing pretty good trying to curb, I guess, because, I have a 6-year-old parakeet. I mean, a son that,
what?
that parrots everything I say.
Okay.
And parrots everything I say at school, and then lest I be judged at the local PTA meeting. Ted, come on. You know, suburban moms. Come on.
Yeah, that's to be avoided. I bet you never go to the PTA meetings.
No, if I have to, if it's a super important thing, I might show up to a parent thing, but that's not my jam. And then they're so judgy. It's not for me.
No.
So obviously, see, we talk about anything and everything here. All the stuff that you already know you want to hear about, like headline news. So we will do hot topics and then hot takes on those hot topics. So it's all the stuff also that you never knew you wanted to know, because Ted, as I say, is a walking Snapple cap of random information, and we'll laugh along the way. We are live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, so please be sure to like and follow this show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Yes, I am dead naming X, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you follow us there. That's going to help the algorithm. We're trying to get monetized everywhere we can, because, as many of you know, Ted and I were both laid off this past fall thanks to these Joe Biden sanctions. So he has made us, he has de-jobbed us as of this fall. So that's how this thing launched a little over 2 months ago. So on the Ted Manila Information Show today, we are going to be talking about Meta dropping their woke and dropping fact checking, because Ted, I'm going to say Mark Zuckerberg is trying to mimic Elon Musk, but remember, they never had their cage match, right? And now he's reemerged, Zuck has, as this Gen Z looking, he's got his big curly hair grown out. He's got a gold chain. He's like, dude, you do know you're a white Jewish kid from the Midwest, right? Are you going through an Eminem phase? What's happening here? But he's trying to go unwoke, and I don't know if I necessarily believe it, Ted. So we're going to talk to our buddy Peter Coffin about that, because I think he's done a lot of damage to the American culture and political system, as it were, because, like I said, all of this is intertwined in 2025. Can't avoid it.
Nope.
Yeah. So with that, yeah, you want to add something before I hit the jaws?
No, not at all. You got it covered.
Yeah, we're gonna do the headlines now. So sit tight. Off we go to the races. The Ted Manila Information Show starts now.
Okay, furious Los Angeles residents tore into their absent mayor, Karen Bass, who was 7,400 miles away from LA in Africa on a political trip as raging fires turned the City of Angels into an apocalyptic hellscape Tuesday. LA Mayor Karen Bass had been criticized after it emerged that she was outside of the country attending a presidential inauguration in Ghana, as northern and western suburbs of her city were hit by devastating wildfires fanned by high winds. But the mayor is back in LA now. 3 wildfires on the outskirts of LA have now burned more than 30,000 acres, that according to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, with evacuation orders from the state agency now requiring, I think this is out of date, it's over 100,000 residents to leave their homes. 5 people are known dead so far. I'm sure that number will tick up. Bass was elected in the 2022 LA mayoral election, defeating billionaire real estate developer Rick Caruso, a fellow Democrat, with 43.1% of the vote against 36%. The mayor has since been criticized over levels of street crime in LA, raising questions about her re-election bid in 2026. Bass had been in Ghana as part of a 4-member U.S. presidential delegation, attending the inauguration of new Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama. She has come under attack for not returning to the U.S. sooner in response to the infernos, with Caruso telling local TV that there had been a failure of leadership and management, adding that everybody knew these winds were coming, so the risk should have been anticipated. Everybody's politicizing these fires. Trump had stuff to say about what he called on Truth Social, Governor Gavin Newsom, which I don't know. I mean, I don't shock easily, and Trump doesn't shock me easily. But it seems to me that when you're just 11 days away from your inauguration, you could probably keep it a little classier than that. Just saying.
I mean, Ted, get with it. This is Trump 2025. But yes, okay, so I'm gonna say that, it's really, first of all, tragic to me looking at my home city, as big as it is, vast as it is.
Wait, what part of LA were you from?
I was born and raised in Whittier, and then I spent my adult life living in Los Angeles proper.
Where?
And
what section?
Downtown and Highland Park.
Okay.
So before it became gentrified, but now it's going back to ungentrified. So it's getting, I used to go hang out in downtown LA at to watch these underground punk bands or rap crews or whatever, when it was still scummy downtown LA. So
downtown LA is re-scumming. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, it is. It's totally re-scumming, like it was in the 90s. That's when I used to go hang out there, and then it got really gentrified, and now it's going back to its roots of scumminess, with homelessness just spread out like the wildfires. But anyway, driving up and down the coast when you're ditching school, right, in high school, seeing those homes no longer existing, those homes that you, as a teenager in California, in Los Angeles especially, that you dream about, I'm going to buy that house one day. I'm going to buy that one. You and your friends, those homes are all gone. This is not normal for January. We always have fires every summer and into the early fall. That's normal. And those fires are typically up in the hilly eastern, portions of the state, up and down. This is right on the coast, on houses on the sand are being burnt down to absolute rubble. And a lot of the times, especially in the Palisades fire, a lot of what I'm hearing from first and second hand accounts is that the fire hydrants just ran out of water. And that has to do with Mayor Karen Bass not properly checking reservoirs. And look, Karen Bass used to be a congresswoman. And when I was posted to Capitol Hill, when I was still allowed there before I got 86 and blackballed, I've talked to her a number of times. She's a lovely, very nice lady. She, I as a person, perfectly fine. But to become the mayor of the second largest city in the country, it is a big job. And I kind of feel like she's kind of in over her head, and she's still too connected to Capitol Hill and Washington, D.C., hence why she was over in Ghana as part of Biden's, team of people. No, why are you taking the mayor of our city? When she should have, she's left all of this stuff undone, and then she goes over there and this huge ass fire breaks out. Like that's shameful. It shows that that the mayor is putting her relationships with the Bidens and whoever else on Capitol Hill ahead of her duties as mayor. So Rick Caruso is absolutely right
Well, may I push
to
back on that a little
excoriate
bit?
her.
I mean, look, here in New York City, you have a perfect illustration of what happens if the mayor doesn't have a good relationship with Washington. Eric Adams pissed off Joe Biden over when he complained about the lack of the federal government helping out with the migrant crisis. And basically, New York City has gotten no federal help to speak of ever since that happened. So, when Eric Adams calls the White House, he gets that the number you have reached 202. Like, it's not, he's not getting any calls back. So I don't know if it's necessarily bad for the mayor of LA or the mayor of any other major city to have a good relationship with the White House, especially if they're from the same party. And I don't think it's necessarily bad that the mayor of LA was in Ghana. I mean, you yourself said this is an unusual time of the year for these fires. So, it's not like what Rick Caruso said is not really accurate.
Why are the reservoirs empty? Why are the firemen? I have one of my stepbrothers is a fireman.
Because there's a fucking drought. Because there's been a drought going on forever, and like there's not enough water there. We reported the whole thing about the Colorado River problems.
Correct, but everybody knows that California has been severely mismanaged, and that's why the other big city in San Francisco has gone to hell in a handbasket, like with rampant homelessness, drug use. So all of these major cities along the West Coast there in California, they are hellscapes before fires, but now you have fires and they literally look like hell. And sure, January is not a normal month for these massive fires, but that's why you're supposed to have like crews on call. You're supposed to have your hookups with your buddies in other states that can come help you. Mayor Bass, or as Mayor Karen, as I think some of the people are calling her, and they're like, that's her real name. Guys, the name Karen is a very normal name. Just let's not at least do that. But Mayor Bass more properly. Like I said, not trying to talk trash, but I have talked to her several times on the Hill, and very pleasant lady. I just didn't find her very impressive. Say that.
By the way, you can maybe answer this question for me. Here in New York, we have a weak mayoral system. What's the power balance of the mayoralty in LA? Is it like more? Well, the power here relies really in Albany with the governor, even in New York City. And then also then city council is like the hot mess with like, I don't know, like over 50 members or something. But but basically there's not a lot. The mayor has the power of the bully pulpit, but the mayor doesn't have a lot of actual power here in New York.
In Los Angeles, the mayor has a lot of pull. I would say it's almost 50-50. And you will find sometimes, very seldom, because it's been a uniparty city for basically my whole adult life.
It didn't used to be, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at least in the past 20 years, there's been no daylight, no split between city council and the mayor. They're usually in lockstep with one another. And then we've recently switched in California across the state. We recently switched to this ranked choice voting for our local elections. So
and state elections.
No, well, there you have it.
The governor is also elected by ranked choice voting. Yeah.
So that's a whole new thing that people haven't quite adjusted to. And Rick Caruso,
it means that Republicans have no chance of being elected, basically.
Well, Rick Caruso, I was just going to say, switched to becoming a Democrat because of the ranked choice voting. Mm-hmm. He, as far as I remember, for the bulk of his life, had been a registered Republican. He is a multi-billionaire developer. I met him a couple of times at, so the Grove in Los Angeles used to be, there was just a lot of parking there. Then he developed that and turned it into the Grove, right? The farmer's market was just there. And then he developed the Grove about 20 some odd years ago.
So it's like an outdoor mall, sort of.
Yes. And it's now become like a thing in California. That's kind of like the standard of what people strive to develop when they make shopping malls now in California because of the beautiful weather, right? So Rick Caruso has done tremendously well. I've had a couple interactions with him. He was actually really nice for a billionaire. I can't say I've shaken the hand of too many billionaires, but he was one of them. And I thought someday he would run, someday, and here it was. But I thought for sure if he ran, he was never going to win because he was a Republican. But then in comes ranked choice voting. He switches parties. So there he is losing by a narrow margin, and I think now he's setting himself up for potentially a big win in 2026 because I think a lot of people in California, up north and in SoCal, are kind of tired of this uniparty rule, and that there needs to be a balance. There needs to be. I'm not saying you got to turn Republican, you got to turn whatever, but there needs to be a balance of powers. And this is why, one party rule, a single party rule can create, after years of it, can create absolute shit and chaos for wherever you live, because you start, there's loopholes. There are holes that don't get filled because everyone's like, yes, what a great idea, my friend. Yes, you had such a great idea. I love that policy. Oh, that's a great policy too. No, fuck you. It's not always great. Like, no, your friend is not always right just because you're in the same party. But that's what we've seen in California. And I think there is a correction coming, and it's way long overdue. And right there, down there, there's Whittier. Right there.
Breaking news, Manila. The highest court here in the state of New York has declined Trump's request to stop the sentencing in his hush money convictions. So that sentencing is going to happen Friday. Tomorrow. It looks like he won't face any kind of prison time, or I don't know. There might be some fines. It looks like that's about it. But I don't. Right.
What are they going to do to him?
Well, I mean, it is. I have to admit. Look, I don't think he should have been convicted.
No.
But I don't think he should have been charged. I thought it was a bullshit charge. Right. That said, once they did, I think there's something very strange about being like, well, because he won an election, he doesn't, get punished. If he hadn't won an election, I mean, it tells you we don't really live in equal justice under the law, right? I mean,
of course not.
Okay. Anyway, outstanding medical debt can no longer impact your credit scores. That, according to a rule finalized yesterday by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, also known as the CFPB. That rule prohibits credit reporting agencies from including medical debt when they calculate credit scores, and prohibits lenders from considering medical info when they assess whether or not to lend them money. The CFPB estimates the rule will wipe out $49 billion in medical bills from the credit reports of 15 million Americans. That makes it easier for people with credit reports impacted by medical debt to get jobs, open credit cards, and access mortgages and loans. Medical bills are often the result of unavoidable medical complications or contain errors. Bing, 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 bing. When I had an uncovered hernia operation during the pandemic, I had a $1,400 bill. I paid the $1,400 bill, and to this day, I'm still getting the bills. And I have written to them 14 times.
Paid it?
I paid it. They never gave me credit for it, and they basically they're like la 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 la. We can't hear you. There's no place to call. You can't talk to them. There's no way anyone ever picks up. No one ever returns your call. I've written to them zillions of times. There's just no point. So I'm just like, fuck them. All right. What can I say? The CFPB said past due medical bills are often inflated, reflect multiple charges for the same service, bing, 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 or charge for services a person never got. People who get sick shouldn't have their financial future upended. Rohit Chopra, director of the CFPB, said in a statement, the CFPB's final rule will close a special carve-out that allowed debt collectors to abuse the credit reporting system to coerce people into paying medical bills they might not even owe. That's here. Lenders will also be prohibited from using medical info about medical devices like prosthetic limbs for the purpose of using them as collateral for a loan.
What? Collateral?
What?
I've
It's like,
never heard that one.
it's like, oh well, I mean, my prosthetic penis is safe now, according
Wait,
to
wait, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Wait.
and
Hold on.
Clovis's prosthetic tail also.
So if you have like a prosthetic leg,
Hmm.
right?
For instance,
If you have a prosthetic leg, that is used
they
as
could repo your
collateral.
leg. They could repo your leg if you don't pay. Like, hey, Chan, let's get like back. No more. The bipedal lifestyle is over for you. It's back. We're gonna call your new nickname is Peg. Turn that over.
Oh my God. So, okay.
And then from now on, whenever you come on the show, you can't say good morning. You have to say "Arr."
Right. That why can't we all start our mornings with like make it pirate day? Well, look, okay. So Ted, and many of the viewers know that. So last year I underwent a double mastectomy and it's all covered by insurance, right? Like, because that's a good thing that Obama passed this or signed this into law, that women with breast cancer, that their reconstruction has to be covered by your health insurance, and insurance cannot deem that a pre-existing condition and use it against you, right? So that's a great thing. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I underwent reconstruction, and now that I look at it, I could have reconstructed a lot more, but
we have the technology. We could rebuild it.
Yes, they could have rebuilt it bigger and better, but I didn't go that route.
And faster. I
didn't go that route. I just chose to go, to go back to reconstruct what was there. But technically, this is considered prosthetic, right? Because it's classified. The breast implants are classified as prosthetic. So technically, if I don't pay some of these outstanding hospital bills I have from 2024, because it was a shit medical year for me, what are they going to do? Rip these tits off my chest? What is going to happen? How can you do that? How can you possibly?
Good thing you didn't get prosthetic breasts.
Like, no, it's classified as prosthetic, and that's why insurance. Yeah, that's why insurance has to cover it.
Oh yeah, so they could have, back in the day, they could have repoed your boobs.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like that, they're
there you are, like at a bar hanging out with your friends, and then it's like a couple of like medical goons show up,
cutting my boobs out of me.
They're like, you know why we're here? You knew this day would come.
You owe the hospital $5,000.
MedCorp wants its tits back.
Like, this is insane to me. Like, this is, again, Ted, this is why Luigi Mangione is this like new
national
hero. Like, it's insane. True. This is America.
He's a hero, not a zero. Yeah, well, in his case, they could have although he's from a rich family, but they could have repoed his maybe his back stuff that they implanted on his back.
Oh, like the
scary looking
whatever.
The scary looking nail bolts. Yeah.
Yeah. What are the pins? Pins. They call them pins.
Yeah, they're giant though. I mean, pins is a misnomer. They're like giant, like nail claws. They're crazy. All right. Jimmy Carter's six-day farewell to the nation. That implies that he's like kind of alive, right? He's not really having a 6-day farewell to the nation. His body is having a 6-day farewell to the nation. Anyway, it culminates today as the 39th president receives a state funeral at Washington National Cathedral before he goes back. Well, his body goes back to his hometown of Plain, Georgia. That's burial.
Live video right there, by the way.
I have been watching this for burial next to his wife, Rosalind. The service marks the end of Carter's lying in state. I don't know if they did the open casket or not.
No. It's always
they closed
closed.
It up. It's always closed?
It's always closed.
I like it Vladimir Lenin style, where you see everything.
Well, yeah, anyway, no, we don't do that here.
I like the ghoulish thing. Anyway, lying in state at the U.S. Capitol, where yesterday VP Kamala Harris led tributes to a president whose legacy of humanitarian work and diplomatic achievements stretched beyond his single term in office. He lived his faith, he served the people, and he left the world better than he found it, Harris said in a eulogy that highlighted Carter's establishment of key federal agencies and diplomatic initiatives, including the Camp David Accords. The procession for America's longest-lived president will be attended by all 5 living presidents, including Donald Trump, as you and I were talking about, Manila, before the show. It's got to be weird. I mean, Bill Clinton's probably next up here in the hit parade.
You think so? Yeah, well,
I mean, he's looking old. And anyway,
he was in the hospital very recently for another heart thing.
Yeah, and he
Or
doesn't.
no, they said it was pneumonia, which is possible. I mean, sure, but I think I heard it was a heart thing. I mean, he had pneumonia the same time I did. So
pneumonia kills a lot of people. Killed my grandfather. But anyway, the
Bill
point
is an older guy.
He's an older guy. So anyway, but whether it's Bill or someone else, it's got to be like, there you are, and you're like, they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna do that to me. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna be in that box, and I'm gonna be laying in state and all that shit. They're gonna do that to me. To me. Like,
no, those five current living presidents or
really?
ex-president. Are there 5? That seems like a lot. But
you're
gonna have George W. You're gonna have W. Bush. You're gonna have Bill Clinton. You're gonna have Trump and Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? That's 4 then. So
I count 4.
They're gonna look at each other like, which one of you bastards is next?
Well, presidential death pool. It's got to be Bill. It's got to be.
Bill looks like in the worst shape, and W, he looks all right. So
W, and he's also younger too.
Yeah.
Anyway, following the cathedral service, Carter's remains will make their final journey back to Plains, the small town in Georgia where his century-long life began and ended. An invitation-only funeral at Maranatha Baptist Church, where Carter's taught Sunday school well into his 90s, will precede his burial alongside Rosalind, his wife of 77 years. I guess they'll be buried at the Carter Center, I'm imagining.
I don't know exactly.
Interesting that they're not buried at Arlington, because he is a veteran, right?
Right.
So he could have been if he wanted to be.
He wants to be buried next to his wife of 1,000 years. So
yes. Well, if your wife is, if you're a vet and you're buried in Arlington, can your wife be buried next to you, or is that only? I don't know how that works.
No, I don't think your wife can, because otherwise
it's military only, right? So
I think it's military only. I don't know. Where's Jackie O buried? She's not buried next to John.
No, that's right. It's Bobby and her and JFK.
Okay.
And Jack are side by side, right? Yeah, I don't know where she's. I mean, she might be buried next to Ari, right?
Yeah, next to her most recent husband. So.
Yes, exactly. All right. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito said that he spoke with Trump by phone this week in support of a former law clerk who wants a job in the next administration. However, the justice said, not credibly, that he did not discuss Trump's pending effort to delay his sentencing. William Levy, one of my former law clerks, asked me to take a call from Trump regarding his qualifications to serve in a government position. Alito said, I agreed to discuss this matter with President-elect Trump, and he called me yesterday afternoon. The call, first reported by ABC, came a day after Trump filed an emergency appeal seeking to delay his Friday sentencing in his New York hush money case, as previously discussed. It is not unusual for justices to make job recommendations on behalf of former clerks who often remain close with the justice for whom they worked. But it's remarkable for justices to speak with an incoming president, especially in advance of a major court filing regarding the first ever criminal sentencing of a former president. You could say it's remarkable, or you could say it's, what's the word? Scuzzy? The call may give the conservative court's critics another reason to question its independence from politics, and Trump in particular. Be very clear here. Supreme Court justices, and for that matter, any judge, should never talk to any political figure at all about anything ever. If they see each other at a cocktail party, they should scooch to the other side of the room.
Turn the other way.
Yeah, they should not have any interactions about anything ever.
Yeah, that's the whole point, that like when every year when the president gives the State of the Union, why the Supreme Court justices remain seated when everybody else stands. It's to at least reflect the image of impartiality, that they are not giving a standing O to whoever the president is, right? They remain seated. But it's also because they're all like 100,000 years old and they remain seated because they can't stand up and sit down, stand up and sit down. But the idea is they are supposed to be impartial and not care about who is giving that State of the Union. That's the idea. Of course, that
that's
but,
not true. Yes,
but Ted, they're people, and they
they're
have
bad.
buddies.
They're people. They're bad people. All right. Turkish foreign minister Hakan Fidan threatened this week to launch attacks against Kurdish forces in northeast Syria. During an interview broadcast late Tuesday, he said that if the U.S. supported paramilitary People's Protection Units, typically known by their Kurdish initials YPG, fail to lay down their arms and throw out any foreign fighters, Turkey will do what's necessary, including a military operation. Maybe they can sneak in while Trump is invading Canada. Meanwhile, the leader of the Kurdish forces in northeast Syria is calling on Washington to keep U.S. troops in the region. Aren't the YPG and Turkey both American allies? Yeah, but Turkey has gone after the Kurds in the past, as Fidan pointed out. This is what our national security requires, he said. Ankara has a longstanding internal conflict with the Kurdistan Workers' Party on its side of the border in Turkey, which is also considered a terrorist group by the U.S. and Turkey's European allies. Attacking the YPG probably won't trigger a significant American response, and Turkey would also like to bolster the newly friendly regime in Damascus, led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Washington is slowly warming to HTS as well. The Biden administration moved to lift a few sanctions on humanitarian aid sent to Syria, though it stopped short of fully lifting the sanctions. We're watching for HTS to play nice in the short term as it seeks to get out from under the restrictions and sanctions imposed on Bashar al-Assad. The Kurds are some serious unfinished business. I was reading a book called Paris 1919. It's about the negotiation of the Treaty of Versailles that ended and settled World War I and sort of created the map of most of the world as we know it today. And so there were all sorts of lines being redrawn by mostly British cartographers, and the Kurds were waiting out in the hall of mirrors at the Versailles Palace, and they were kind of like, guys, we need that homeland, and the great powers were inside drawing the maps, like smoking cigars, drinking scotch, and they're like, no, don't worry, we got you. We know that Kurds need a homeland. You guys have been waiting for a long time. We got you. We're protecting you. And literally, they're like, you wait out in the hall. I mean, I'm not even like, this isn't even like an exaggeration. It was exactly like this. And so they were like, okay, like schoolboys. They were waiting out in the hall on the little velvet benches. And then ultimately, the thing ended. And it was like, I guess they'd been drinking so much, they fucking forgot the Kurds. And it was like, oh shit. And the thing went on for months. But it was like, they said, like our bad. We totally forgot a homeland for the Kurds. And it never got done.
Wow.
So like literally, and they're like, we'll get you at the next big international peace conference. Get you next time. Catch you.
We'll get you the next Geneva. Like, just totally
catch
fine.
You later. Yeah, so that's
oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks to be Kurdish. You know what?
Yeah. Well, okay, look, Erdogan is, dare I say it, Ted, a little snaky. Just like he's, Erdogan's gonna do what Erdogan's gonna do for whatever his purpose is at that moment. Like, he's just like, but if I were him, like, okay, I'd probably do that too. If you got to do what you got to do to politically survive, keep your country afloat, keep the lira from plummeting down to the depths of hell. But then, when the United States now is kind of wishy-washy too, like, what do you do, right? But he hasn't, obviously, how he's treated Vladimir Putin, how he's treated Bashar al-Assad, and this is a little dirtbaggy, dare I say. But now with the U.S. Warming up to this dude, who is an Al-Qaeda head chopper, but now in a nice suit.
Come on.
I wonder
who hasn't chopped a few heads.
That's something I thought about doing. And
might just be might be a prosthetic head. Might be a prosthetic head that the insurance company.
Maybe they'll take
back.
this head. Maybe they'll take this head and put it in a vat and plug me up to like AI or something, and this head will live forever. I don't know. I haven't decided. But this guy here, the HTS dude, like, okay, so they've taken him out of his fatigues, right? Out of the camo, and out of all the military stuff that he normally sports when he's doing the head chopping, because it's really hard to get like brains
Apparently,
and
head chopping's not easy.
yeah, it's really tough. It's literally physically. I mean, I'm talking about physically very tough.
Yeah.
But maybe he's not doing that these days anymore. He's now in a suit. The U.S. is they've probably taken away that $12 million bounty that we had on his head literally 2 weeks ago. Up until 2 weeks ago. I haven't checked back at the State Department to see if they removed that. But if we're warming up to him, Ted, I as much as Erdogan says he doesn't want to chop up Syria, I think this guy wants to chop up Syria.
Well, Syria is already chopped up. The only question, I mean, there's no question. It's just going to remain chopped up. It's going to be there's going to be the Kurdish. There's going to be separate zones, right? There's going to be at least 4 discrete sections of Syria.
Yeah, but Erdogan, because he was part of this whole overthrow of Assad. He's no fan of Assad, and it behooves him to. Well, you would think it wouldn't behoove him to destabilize Syria, but it actually does, because then he could take more land. But, that's a whole different conversation for another day.
It's very short term. Yeah.
It's very short-sighted, I would say. Very short-sighted. But that's a different conversation for an actual expert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, yeah, this whole thing is just fucked up in Syria, and the U.S. is, that this is just what we do. We destabilize and cut and run. Surprise! As if we don't do that. Surprise for anyone that didn't know. So there you have it.
All right. We should move on.
Yeah,
our guest is waiting.
We see our guest there. Let's hit the jaws and switch gears to our main topic.
Never embarrassed to be seen blowing with the political winds, Facebook CEO, also known as Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, spent the last 4 years leading Silicon Valley's censorship industrial complex. Facebook openly admitted throttling all political content on the grounds that users didn't like it. But if users didn't like it, then you wouldn't need to throttle it, would you? Because the algorithms just wouldn't push it up. Anyway, it hired an advisory panel with clear ideological blind spots. Most notoriously, Facebook turned to outsourced fact checkers who were 20 years old, who didn't know anything about the subjects that they were supposed to be assessing. I mean, seriously, people would be arguing about the politics of Myanmar, and and they'd outsource this to some derps who didn't know anything about Myanmar and made mistakes. Anyway, now at least Zuckerberg says that the fact checkers are no more. We are now joined by our guest, Peter Coffin, to ask, is Facebook really entering the free speech zone? And if so, how long will it last in the second age of Trump? Peter Coffin is a video essayist with over 250,000 YouTube subscribers, a podcaster, and an author. In their book, Custom Reality and You, they explore how reality works in a world where profit is the driving force. Relatable humor and commitment to everyday people keeps their left perspective fresh, fun, and most importantly, sharp. You can follow Peter on YouTube, Patreon, and Twitter, or now X, at Peter Coffin, or purchase their book on Amazon at Peter. Well, I don't know why we have the Twitter thing up there twice, but anyway, like an idiot, reading my GPS and driving into the ocean, I'm just reading it again, like Joe Biden. Anyway, hey, Peter.
I gotta ask, Peter, you have so many. I didn't realize you had so many books under your belt. Where do you find time to write all of these books? You and Ted. I don't get how.
Well, some of them are longer, more in-depth books. Custom Reality and You and Woke Ouroboros were both kind of long research projects. Took a few years. The rest of them are transcripts of my documentaries, very important documentaries on YouTube. It's just a different way to deliver the message. Some people prefer to read rather than see me in a dumb costume acting like a goof.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. So you can follow Peter on. I'm on the Amazon follow page, so you can follow Peter's work there. So when new stuff drops, You'll be notified.
I have no idea how that works on Amazon, by the way.
Yeah, I've never done that. Ever.
You guys have never. How have you never done this?
This is the first I've ever heard of it.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm an expert Amazoner. So when you click follow right here, like for example, right there next to the author's face, you click follow. And so whenever
the button is about the size of a flea, so I'm not surprised that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, so you go to your favorite author, whoever it is, you want to follow their work. So when they issue new works, the way Amazon categorizes all of that person's work, and whoever follows them will get an email notification like so-and-so's new book has just dropped.
I would do that.
Yeah. That is how a follow should work, honestly.
Yeah.
I would do that.
But you know what? You know who doesn't do that like regularly is the exact thing we're going to be talking about right here. Meta will help you unfollow, like Meta will help you follow the ones you didn't even know you wanted to follow. And
it's
and
almost
I don't
like
know.
those buttons don't do anything on their side. It's weird.
Like this is like I feel like we're living in this weird how else do we describe it other than like clown world? It's like everything is a joke when it's meta related, right? Like, and especially when you look, I'm sorry, I don't normally criticize what people look like, but Mark Zuckerberg is in his 40s.
He's really pulling a hello fellow kids, isn't he?
Like, what is this look here? Is he going through like his Eminem phase? Like he thinks he like got a, I don't know, Kendrick Lamar like album and he's like, I'm gonna go for that look. I'm doing that.
I hear he just hit puberty.
What is going on? He's in his 40s. What's going on?
Yeah, he's going through his awkward 40s.
It was delayed. Very delayed puberty.
He's gonna come out of this in his 60s looking great.
So like new look, new policies for your mega company? Is that
here's the thing, like honestly, and I know I'm gonna offend people here. Adult men don't look good with curly hair. It's like sort of like it's really cute when little boys have curly hair.
Oh, it's adorable.
But like adult men just don't look good. It's like think about Art Garfunkel before he went bald. He looked better bald. But like with the curly hair, it's just like it's just it's derpy looking. He should straighten it. He should straighten his hair. Should
I remind you guys? David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, there are people that have pulled it off, but the exception
it worked for him in the
80s. Thank you, Peter.
That could be
I won't say that nobody's ever pulled that off, certainly, but
I won't say that either.
Here isn't.
There may be exceptions, but I think generally it's sort of like straighten that hair.
Keep it short.
And even if that's something that people think isn't necessarily true, you can't look at this guy and go, that's working.
Well, and that's the thing. We're allowed to talk about this because he's a multi-billionaire. So he can look however he wants. He can have all sorts of implants and prosthetics and plastic surgery, anything he wants. He can have a
no one's going to tell him
head replacement. It's fine.
No one's going to tell him it looks bad.
Right, but the point is, he has all the money in the world to go to experts and say, make me look pretty. And
that's true.
He's not doing that.
They're not the right experts that he's going to. He's going to
Priscilla. Is that her name? Priscilla Chan, his wife, Priscilla. Is that her name? Yeah.
Is that
starts
right?
with
I don't know for sure.
I think so.
I'm going to look that up, but all right.
His wife does not love him.
Oh. Well, how could she really?
It's like
she loves the kitchen.
You are right.
It's a very nice kitchen.
Priscilla.
Lots of expensive equipment in there. Marble. The cabinets are beautiful. I guarantee you, there's no problems there. The bathrooms also probably very nice. I have to imagine there are a lot of reasons to stick around. You could probably name various other rooms. They probably also. But I think the house, the money, that's probably a large factor. He recently
unveiled because he's trying to get hip with, like relating to humans, because that's what AI is trying to do, right? It's trying to relate.
He's not making a good case for not being AI. I'll say that.
So he recently unveiled, he's allowing cameras into his home, as you kind of alluded to there.
Yeah.
The cameras unveiled for her last birthday. It could have been her 40th birthday, but he unveiled.
She's not 40 yet. She's 39.
No, her 39th birthday.
She turns 40 in February.
For reference, I am the same age as this man in this picture.
That's strange. Yeah, that's true.
He unveiled a statue. He had a statue made for Priscilla a few months ago and let cameras into his home. It's a statue of her in their backyard.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't see that one. I did. I saw their kitchen, and it's a nice kitchen.
It was an ode to Priscilla. Like, I love you so much, baby. Look, here's this big gold statue I got carved out of you. 100% solid 18 karat gold. Because Asians do not accept anything less than 18 karat. I'm just putting that out there.
Oh my God, I'm looking at it now. It's absolutely terrifying.
What I like is that this man is somehow supposed to be different than Donald Trump, but like he's buying his wife. Do you like your statue? I think it's a good one. Very gold, very luxurious statue.
Oh my God, it is.
Oh, it's green.
It's absolutely like
the. Oh no, wait.
It's absolutely terrifying. I mean, she's basically.
Oh,
I don't know what color that even is, and I'm a graphic artist.
Oh my God!
It's like a sort of, I guess, a teal green. It would be the best way to describe it.
Very green teal. It's almost a neon teal, if such a thing exists.
Yeah, that's right. Highly saturated, and then she's draped with this kind of like demonic
aluminum foil.
Well, demonic, like or like mercury kind of. But she looks like definitely looks like a. I'm not even kidding. She looks like a demon. Right?
It looks like a this is not.
I don't like it. I wouldn't like it. And if he's got it in his backyard, that's ugh.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that every day.
Yeah, you go out your backyard. I'm gonna grill up some chicken, everybody, and then you're just staring at that the whole time. Like,
it's 7 feet tall. It's 7 feet tall, and that's why this image of her, right here, drinking her cup of coffee. He got it to match her coffee mug. She's out there in her robe.
Yeah.
She's out there in her robe when the statue was unveiled.
Maybe that's her favorite color.
Like, where's the California wildfire when you need it,
Oh, good God. Who did he commission for this? This is terrible. Good God.
When the wildfire's preferable. That's pretty bad.
Yes. This is so God. I'm actually I was just God. This is not good. Not good. Just saying. All right. So apart from all the bad optics coming out of the Zuckerberg household, onto his order of business.
I do have to say, like the hair in those photos, I do prefer the current hair too.
Really?
That doesn't look good. He looks like Lloyd Christmas.
That's a Dumb and Dumber reference, folks.
Yeah,
my favorite movie. Favorite movie.
He does look like
that.
That is a pure bowl cut. And while I'm not saying his new hair is good, it's better than a bowl cut at least.
I don't know what would work for Zuck, but again, for these AI robots, you can try all kinds of different hair.
Yeah, you're allowed to change it.
Yeah, just take it off and
just use the different sliders on the character creator and
yeah, like why not just do different hair. I don't think any of those that we've tried so far are working for Zuck, but he's looking for his image. He's going for something. Oh,
he should go for my haircut, like just shave
the
side and do the thing like that. Everybody likes that, and not because it looks
mine.
Good. Not because it's mine. It's just a very it's a different looking haircut that people seem to like. I don't know.
Zuck has not done that obviously, but he'd have to.
I know several
people
out. With this haircut, and people always say people like this.
Brad
haircut.
Pitt had it very recently. I don't know if he still does, but yeah, the whole tight sides.
Well, let's just say I beat him to it. I beat him to it.
You did. For his 60th birthday, he wanted to look as young and hip as he could. So this is like
he and I are like almost exactly the same age. which is depressing to me. And
Similar. Again, I just noted my exact same age as Zuckerberg. My hair is my hair is actually more gray than yours, Ted.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I can see that here.
A lot of people find gray hot.
Oh, yeah.
I have found I walk into certain places and this conversation has devolved significantly.
Yeah, so like
it's really bad. It's really bad.
We've really just like Zuckerberg's looks just like brought us into like
what happened here?
It's yuck. And look at this crappy statue.
Yeah.
Well,
it's true. Like, it's not like we're saying anything untrue, but
no, it is true. We probably should bring this back to the topic at hand, right? So, the conventional wisdom here, and I suspect that the conventional wisdom is right, but Peter, I want your take on this, is that basically Zuckerberg is sucking up to Trump, and like everybody else is, and that he's like, oh God, like now I can't keep like all the apolitical, anti-Republican stuff, anti-Trump watching stuff that democracy dies in darkness bullshit that we've been having for the last 4 years or so ish, and so now because he went and met with Trump. So he came out of it and he issues this statement about getting rid of the fact checkers. Now, the fact checkers were a deeply flawed thing, but that was exposed years ago, right? Where they would outsource fact checking to some, not experts. It's not like, someone would flag something and say, okay, well, I don't like what this person said about the internal politics of Botswana, but they don't get like a professor who specializes in Botswanan history and current events. They just get like some randos who they have checked everything, right? Like they check cooking and they check, entomology and ornithology and everything. So they were making mistakes. They were like making objective mistakes, like things that were not a matter of opinion. They was just like, you're just wrong. And that was exposed years ago. I don't know why they continue to keep these people. They have that advisory board. They probably still have that. I mean,
it's bizarre that it was still going on. See, I used to, way back in like 15 or so years ago when I was doing just straight comedy on YouTube, I also had a Facebook page and I used it to promote my YouTube videos and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was back when you could do that. You didn't have to pay to like ensure that your followers saw your posts. And once that, when they switched that, I was like, yeah, this isn't social media.
We're done here.
This is the media. If you can pay, you can be seen, which brings us exactly into the fact checking thing. What's the agenda of the fact checkers? Is it to keep everything straight? Absolutely not. They used the lowest quality and also in many cases very politically biased fact checkers.
Yeah.
It's so obviously not to check facts. Like it's about creating the platform that they think will work the best. And in certain cases to appease the government. Like in a lot of cases, the Twitter files, I'm sure, show us the very bare minimum of what was going on Facebook, because Facebook is way worse than Twitter ever was. I don't know. To me, I look at it like there's a good chance the fact that he's done the heel turn, I think also shows Trump gets in and suddenly, we're going to be a free speech platform too, after everybody screaming about Elon Musk for years. It's not like, and then here's the other thing. Elon Musk has not created a free speech platform. Elon Musk has created a platform in which maybe a slightly wider amount of topics are allowed. But like, let's say you trash Elon Musk on the platform and get popular doing so. Do you think you're going to keep that popularity for very long? No, because the person who owns it, the thing is, we live in a country where free speech, it's not free. It's paid. Like we have a paid speech policy in the country. And Elon Musk shows us that's the case. Zuckerberg has showed us the case. I explained a situation in which it's very clear that it's paid speech because I would post, my videos to my followers back in the comedy days. And then suddenly, in order to reach the people who had clicked follow on my page, which segged us into this whole thing, I had to pay. I literally had to pay to boost the post to my followers. It's insane. Like, and on that basis alone, we don't have free speech on any of these platforms because somebody owns them.
Well, isn't that going to be? I mean, that's okay. So, not to be meta about it, but hasn't that always been the case, right? I mean, everything's owned by someone, right? I mean, Marx very, I think, correctly said that unless you own the means of production, you don't have free speech, right? So, if you don't own your own not only platform but also the means of distribution for that content, you don't have free speech. You can be cut off at any time. I mean, that was true in the old days of dead tree newspapers, magazines, unless you just basically owned a printing press and handed out pamphlets to people in the street. That's about as free as it got, right? It's been downhill ever since.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a systemic problem. It's, if you want to talk about the means of production and all that, the central contradiction to capitalism is the socializing of production with the feudal individual mode of appropriation. It's ultimately, there's a contradiction there that creates two classes, the owners and the not owners, and the owners are the ones that get to do everything. And yes, like, sure, it's more free than it was during feudalism. It's better that we have printing presses and social media, but if you want free speech, you can't actually maintain the current arrangement we have. Or we can accept that free speech is only free speech for people who own, Facebook and the Washington Post and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, which we just saw recently, a controversy at the Washington Post with one of my colleagues, Ann Telnis, who the cartoonist there, who she resigned after trying to do a cartoon depicting Zuckerberg and Dr. Patsoon-Chiang, the owner of the LA Times, and Bezos. And Bezos, and also Disney, and I think there's another person who I'm forgetting, kowtowing to Trump in as he comes to office. I mean, how much is the? I mean, is this just exactly what it looks like? It's like sucking up to Trump.
How could it not be? I just, like, to me, I just don't understand how it could not be, because it's just, I mean, you see such a pivot in these people. They want favor from the person with I mean, functionally the most power in the country. I mean, this isn't to say the state doesn't exist more or less to service their ability to make money. It does, but it's a symbiotic thing where preference and these sort of relationships can really benefit a company. And why wouldn't he want to suck up to the current president?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But here's another thing. Now that I mean, he's been on the Hill a gazillion times, and because I had to stop it here because those are those Meta glasses that he'd been working on forever.
Wait, those are them?
Those are them.
I assumed they looked like Google Glass, like if you remember those.
Those are them. As you can see, they're not fit for every face. It's not a frame that's.
If you put a mustache, if you put a mustache under there, it looked like he was wearing those like comedy glasses.
Oh,
yeah, true.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is bad. Well, given with the hair and this whole look.
The hair doesn't help it. No,
no,
not good. But I just stopped it there because I was just so kind of shocked when I saw it. I went, "What am I?" Okay, that's the Google Glass. Sorry, not Google Glass. His Meta glasses. And supposedly he was in talks with Ray-Ban to develop them. So I don't know.
I can see the influence.
The Ray-Ban?
Ray-Ban actually does provide the glasses function of the current Facebook glasses product. It's not that. Oh. They don't have that on release. It's apparently too advanced for public consumption, I guess. But the current thing is actually a Ray-Ban glasses with some features. You can talk to it and it talks to you and stuff like that. Oh. It's basically the pin, that humane pin, but as glasses. So I don't know how great it is.
So weird. Well, anyway, we know, like, we were making fun of, SCOTUS being 1 million years old and people on the Hill being 1 million years old. And then they sit on, the technology committees or whatever they're called. People like Dianne Feinstein that sat in that committee literally until the day she died. But
and long after.
That's just the ghost of Diane is still there, even though Adam Schiff is now technically in her seat. It's been her seat for 100 years. But Section 230 is something that hasn't been touched. And despite Zuck coming out and just saying, like, oh yeah, we have a fact-checking crew, we have blah 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 for the last few years. That turns you into a publisher. Why like, not in effect, like, you are straight up a publisher if you have a whole crew of people that are, fact checking and editing and allowing A, B, C, and not D and not G.
Mm-hmm.
That therefore you are now a publisher.
You're a publisher if you control the content, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
And that's it.
Like you're a telecom, you're a conduit if you're like AT&T. AT&T
Right.
doesn't decide who gets to make a phone call or what the content of that phone call is, or whether any of that phone call should be truncated.
Why didn't Congress touch it? Why didn't Congress touch Section 230 when this came to bear, that he openly said we have a fact-checking committee?
Well, I mean, to be frank, they didn't really need to touch 230. They needed to, talk about these guys as platforms and publishers rather than utilities. They're just not. They haven't been utilities in a very long time. If you have an algorithm that sorts content and recommends it, you're a publisher. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if humans are the ones that are doing it. The algorithm is programmed to service the human's agenda. It is a publisher.
Right.
I agree with that. I think everybody agrees with that. If this were to go to a judge would agree with that. Any judge,
I would hope.
I would think. I mean, any judge. I don't even think this would be controversial. I think the Supreme Court would certainly rule that way. How come this hasn't gone through the courts? Does no one have standing? I mean, people who've been, I would think anyone who's ever been censored on Facebook, which is like me and like everyone else, why has nobody sued? Does nobody have the money to take on the deep pockets of Facebook and its attorneys? Or
well, I'll certainly say the thought of it makes my butthole clench a little bit. The idea of getting into a lawsuit with Facebook.
Oh God, yeah, you're not going to win.
Oh my God,
no, there's no way to win. And the thing is, you're completely right. Like, we have precedent. Like, there's no question that there is publishers, abilities and actions being taken. These are the actions of a publisher, whether they're algorithmic or they're, humans literally pressing the shadow ban button. That is you being a publisher. It doesn't mean that, functionally you look at it like it's something different. Like we've always looked at social media as something different from a newspaper or from a TV channel. That's true, but that doesn't mean it's not, subject to those same regulations or standards. It's the problem is we all know what it is, but none of us have the ability. Like, I even wonder if a class action lawsuit could even manage it. Like, it seems like they could probably fight it until it doesn't make any sense for the people who are bringing the lawsuit to them to continue. Like, there comes a point where the money runs out if you're not Facebook.
This is another example of what I always say. When people complain that there's too much litigiousness in our society, I'm always like, no, there's not enough litigiousness in our society.
Because you're not able. Go ahead.
This picture right here, the picture is old, but I didn't know this. I didn't know Zuckerberg went to Mar-a-Lago in December to go have dinner with Trump. Like, that's and then what, a couple weeks later he's like, we're totally free speech now. Totally free speech.
I guess he got his hair trimmed right before the big meeting. Good move.
Yeah,
because he knew he's going to go up meeting Trump. You're going to be there's going to be a hair off there, and who's going to win. You don't want to lose to Trump.
This picture isn't in the White House, so this is an old picture. But his current hair is what we just saw. Is the curly mop not?
I don't know. It seems like clear deal making. Like, you have to think of these. You have to think of these entities as almost closer to states themselves. They're huge. They have their own economies. They exist in a manner like we exist in a monopoly stage of capitalism. And to pretend that companies are the same as the entities that like Ford was back innovating with cars and stuff like that, you could almost say Tesla, even though you could argue that it's similar to that. It's not. It functions in a different way. These things have their own economies. I don't know. It's almost like heads of state meeting. Like it's diplomacy at this point.
True. And the other thing is, it's also, unlike Ford, you know, a company like Facebook is far more extractive than a company like Ford or GM. I was a few years ago, I was doing some research and I came across a statistic that blew me away. That at the time, I'm sure this is worse now, Facebook had 4 times the market capitalization of General Motors. Facebook at the time was only employed, I think, about 20 or 25,000 people worldwide. And General Motors and its suppliers employed between 2 and 4 million people. So if you just think about the money that GM pours back into the economy in terms of employment, and you know, compared to Facebook, Facebook is a giant sucking sound of money out of the economy. Right, it's not,
and you can even
churn, right?
You can even take that and you know, you use the employment numbers, and that's a definite piece of evidence they are not injecting money back into the economy. But you can also talk about the product, like a car. When somebody buys a car, it's a thing that's used. Like when
it generates economic activity because it's used for people, for example, to drive to work or conduct businesses or run a business.
I mean, you could argue that there are things on Facebook that do have utility to sort of greasing the wheels of business, but I would argue that they're not anywhere near what like a product of actual utility does.
Right.
Like
the world was fine without Facebook. The economy would be fine without. If Facebook died tomorrow, very few people would say, oh my God, you know, like, it's just, what are we going to do? You know, I don't think the president would have to really worry about the economy tanking or anything. It'd be like, oh, that's interesting. That's weird.
Right. Like if cars disappeared off the face of the earth, we're all screwed. Right. Like,
there's no cars.
Like no sun. You wake up tomorrow and there's no cars. They're like,
we're fucked then.
No, you can't get to a doctor's appointment 2 miles away easily anymore.
Right. Well, so I got a question from the audience. Let me read this from our buddy Nerd. Question. All of these major social media and tech companies met with the newly elected Biden administration in the same way, and really only Kim Iverson and Sputnik covered it. Why and so much news and attention on Zuck doing this?
Or you mean Zuck doing it with Trump, right?
But like, I guess all the big, you know, social media companies, all the big techies, they come and kiss the ring every year. Why are people only looking at Zuckerberg?
Well, you mean at Zuckerberg meeting with Trump?
I think
but everybody's done it.
Trump is a large element of it, and I think the other large element is how blatant Zuckerberg is. He is so much more blatant than all of the other ones. The other ones try to play it off as though, you know, they're trying to do something or he will change his attire. He will go out and surfboard to look cool. He's earned the reputation of seeming like an alien among people.
Right.
Which is saying a lot when we're talking about Silicon Valley.
Yes, it is. I mean, very much.
This guy has like no identity of his own. I think that's you know, he doesn't have like a concrete understanding of who the Zuck is, and Priscilla hasn't helped. Like no one's helped him, and that's why he's doing his jujitsu and his surfing and threatening Elon Musk to like go in the octagon with him because now he's like a judo champion or whatever the hell. I don't even know because Zuck has no identity.
I said it before. He's going through puberty.
Probably true. That's very
turning
possible.
into a man. That's what's happening here.
It's very possible. Very possible. But look, everybody has donated big money.
Boy.
Yeah.
Based on Nerd's question, now that I think of it, like Nerd is right. Everybody has kissed the Trump ring. Bill Gates has donated money to the presidential inauguration fund.
So has Facebook.
Bezos. I mean, everybody's donated like 6 and 7 figures in some cases. But
why, by the way, would that be appropriate? In any way, shape, or form?
But
I mean, in a world where things make sense
Elon's
now.
in the Cabana house, guys, at Mar-a-Lago. Like, Elon is in the pool house. Like, legit.
That's such a funny statement. Elon's just hanging out in the pool house. Can't get rid of him. That's where he is.
Yeah, pumping himself up
Like, he
full of
lives there.
Ozempic every morning.
You know,
He just lives there.
yeah. That's my impression of him is just you say something that seems like it's kind of correct, and then you go, yeah. He's a very dull human being. He doesn't seem to know where he's going with stuff ever. And then at the same time, he's the most insane person because he's got all this wealth and whatever comes into his head he can do. I don't know. I'm diverting from the point. I apologize.
But yeah, like to Nerd's point, all of the tech bazillionaires have all kissed the ring. Like, so why the attention on Zuckerberg?
Well,
like,
like I said, I think it's
he's a robot.
Trump. I think it's partly Trump. I think it's partly Zuckerberg's image, but also during the Biden administration, it became a lot more obvious this stuff was going on. We had the Twitter files happen. We had we understand the consequence of it more, I think, in 2024, at least as a society. I think more people have been exposed to this and have thought, this isn't right. I want to put somebody else in. So they put somebody else in, and the same thing keeps happening. And I think that is also an element of it. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I think that is sort of triggering here as well. And whether Zuckerberg is somebody who draws attention for, so blatantly shifting directions whenever he wants, and so very clearly, dressing like he's, I guess, 17 years old now.
By the way, what happened to the metaverse, right? It's called Meta, and that was supposed to be like all things that Zuck was supposed to be working on from now on. We haven't heard shit about that.
Well, as it turns out, nobody actually wants to VR shop through Walmart. I don't know how that isn't what people want, but it's not.
No, it's not.
I hate going through real Walmart. Why would I put on a game console to go to Walmart?
But you guys, don't forget, we're laughing about this. Zuck is laughing all the way to the bank because people were buying like space in the meta, like they were buying property land in the metaverse for like thousands of dollars a couple years ago.
Walmart paid Meta I almost had to say Facebook there, but I'm sure Walmart paid Meta a pretty penny for that. That was not only like one of the stars of the show in terms of like the shopping experience, but like that's what they used to demonstrate the product to everybody at the keynote. They were like, look what you can do. You can VR shop through Walmart. You can take these products off of the shelf and put them into your virtual cart. And it's like, I do that at Walmart. I don't like it. I have to go to Walmart. I don't want to go to Walmart.
I don't want to VR it from home.
No. If anything, that's like the little bit of normal social experience that's allowed nowadays is when you go into the awful store you don't want to go into.
True.
Well,
no.
But people bought space. I'm just saying there were
all that money just
realtors.
It got sucked right up, like we were talking about a minute ago. That money just went into the Twilight Zone. It's in a void.
No. I'll tell you where it went. It went right here.
Yes. I mean, it's arguably the Twilight Zone.
It went right there.
By the way,
that is the
when
gate
I looked
to hell.
that up, there was a review from a San Francisco art journal that they talked to all sorts of artist experts about like this. Apparently, this is a renowned artist who did this, and they said we view this as a missed opportunity. I'm like, I don't think there was an opportunity. That's just me, but it's like,
I mean, what was the opportunity to put the comedy glasses on her too?
Oh, no.
The mustache and the big frames.
I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if we learn one day that she's like an abusive wife, like Angelina Jolie was.
She's a doctor. I know that she's an MD. So
she's a pediatrician. Yeah.
Yeah,
she's an acting pediatrician.
I don't know if she actually has a job, but they got their 2 kids or whatever. But from what I understand, according to one particular doctor that I've known for most of my life, he says that he will not date a female doctor because there's it's a stereotype, he says, but there's a a type of woman that becomes a doctor, and that they're largely insufferable, and he will never date a female. He will never date a female doctor. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know, but
that seems about as sexist as it possibly can be.
Yeah. I was like, what? I was like, I have plenty of female doctors.
Not only is that not true, that cannot be true. That just doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't know, but
maybe doctors are just tend to be insufferable. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm sure that there is a possibility that doctors can be insufferable, but also like I know several people who are doctors and are female, and none of them are insufferable.
I literally hang out with one of my female doctors.
I have several female doctors, and they're great. I don't know.
They're lovely, and you know what? And
my female doctors,
they're the best doctors.
They're the best doctors. Like when he pointed into the audience, my African American.
That's my African Americans.
My female doctor.
Lady doctor.
Female doctors, but lady doctors. Do you know ladies can be doctors? Look, my husband's going to be thrilled to hear this, but I ruled out ever dating doctors. Like, and
why? Because they're always on call or whatever.
I will say I have not.
Well, you're still single in the new year, Peter.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So we'll see.
The year is very, very young.
I haven't been given enough time. I have not been given enough time here.
You can always meet someone at the Trump inaugural ball.
I will be there.
Really?
Will. Well, I won't be at the ball, but I'll be in DC.
Nice. You're coming to DC?
Yeah, we've got a CPI event in DC on the evening. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, cpiusa.org if anybody is out there and interested in
Caleb Maupin did not tell me.
What's that?
I said Caleb Maupin did not tell me that he was coming to town.
Well, both he and I typically forget to promote anything. The only reason that it came up was I was like, oh, I'm going to be there for real.
Like, oh, you are coming.
Well, otherwise I wouldn't have promoted it. So
well, there you go. Well, so if people want to attend, if they're in the DC area, if they are coming to the DC area, maybe they're coming to protest, maybe they're coming to celebrate. I don't know.
It's way more fun to stand around and like eat at a buffet and shoot the shit. I like that better than protesting. That's basically what we're doing.
Protesting, I think, is officially like dead.
Yeah, I think there's some utility, but you really have to think about it.
Peter, why don't you and Caleb just VR this whole damn thing in the metaverse? I hear there's convention centers available in the metaverse.
Yeah, the abandoned Walmarts of the metaverse.
and the broken down, homeless filled subways in the metaverse.
What the metaverse looks worse than the real world now.
Could well be. Right, the metaverse smells like piss.
Yeah. Does it look like downtown LA and San Francisco in the metaverse now?
Yeah. Portland or the metaverse. I don't know which one's worse.
Metaverse is on fire.
This is terrible. I have not looked at the metaverse, but all I know is there were people that were buying Gucci shoes and whatever on the metaverse Gucci clothes and all of the major brands, Hermes and all of that. They had stores. People were legit selling and buying these things on early metaverse, and now it's just poof, gone.
It's insane.
Got a lot of virtual tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Anyway, this is so much fun. It's always so much fun having you on because you really can talk about anything and everything. And now I see why, because you've authored a gazillion random things.
I've done too much work to not be able to. If I weren't able to, it would be suspicious.
all of these random, wow.
They are about a lot of different things too. So I'm very accomplished. I have a great haircut. It's been 9 days.
You're single.
Don't know why I'm still single in 2025. 9 days seems like a long time.
All right, maybe we'll bring you on to pimp you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
What state are you in? What state
are
you in?
I'm in Minnesota. Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh, that's cold.
Minnesota.
That's cold.
Yeah,
Don't
but you need to stay
cuddle up?
warm under the blankets, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of doctors, there's tons of them here, though.
That's
I'll
true.
say that.
Oh, good
Yeah,
schools
that's where United Healthcare is. Maybe you can find someone working at a nice moral company.
Yeah, very.
Make sure your car gets bulletproof glass.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a flyer, and I'm gonna just poster the parking lot of United Healthcare.
Single.
They have money. They never pay out on claims.
They do.
So.
They do have money, but it comes with immense risk.
True.
That's true. What is wrong with this show? We are so wrong in so many different ways.
That's what I like.
That's what makes it fun. And having guests like Peter Coffin.
Well, I enjoy coming on because I'm allowed to do that.
Peter, we're gonna find you a partner. All right, next time.
And there's 2 kids. Yes.
Yeah, I have 2 kids. I have 2 kids.
So they
must like children.
2 kids.
Yes, that's. It would be very difficult if they were like a child hater, and also they probably. Right. It's hard to deal with that kind of person, anyways. Generally,
yeah, that's true.
They usually hate things that aren't children too.
Yeah, so none of these disturbing when someone says like, "Oh, I'm not that into your kid," or
none of those millennials that are like no, like I don't want to be a step parent. I don't like there's so I feel like there's I don't know, maybe they're just loud on social media, but I feel like there's a lot of millennials that want to be dinks, and that's the dream.
Double income, no kids. For people who don't know what that means.
I'm a millennial. Which is hard to believe at this point that there are millennials as old as I am. But, I have seen many of the millennial you're talking about. And a very
geriatric millennial is what they call it.
Now it's getting to the point where we're actually called millennials because it's getting near a millennium we've been alive.
Don't even start with me, Peter. Don't even start.
I'm at the tail end of
61-year-old Gen Xer.
You're way past a millennium now, Ted.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I'm the last of the X and maybe like the X millennial, like right in that age group.
I think was what they were calling it.
Yeah, Xennial. Yeah,
you're Gen X 2.0 or your cusp.
Yeah,
you get to choose.
People that are late 70s into the first couple of years of Reagan. They try to call us the Xenials, like the X Xenial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in that group. And yeah, we still liked kids. Like,
yeah, no, I don't know. I think most people. I mean,
millennials.
The world population is evidence that more people like kids than
that's true.
It's 8.5 billion.
Living here in New York, people from Minnesota will often say, "Oh, it must be very unusual or strange to live there," and I'll be like, actually, more people live here than anywhere else. Yeah. So, by definition, it's usual. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
You got a much bigger sample size. So you're going to average it way more.
Yeah. All right, Peter.
That's going to be part of our job this year.
Let's let Peter go and let's wrap it up.
Good date. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
See you.
Well, that's always fun with having
Peter. I mean it. We should bring him on and pimp him out. All right, so
we're gonna have a pimp out show now. We're just gonna
we'll get some.
Dedicate one episode to
let's get the clicks. All right. Anyway, Peter Coffin, reintroduce. If you're just joining us, is a video essayist with over 250,000 YouTube subscribers, a podcaster, and an author. In their book Custom Reality and You, they explore how reality works in a world where profit is the driving force. And you can follow Peter on Twitter/X at Peter Coffin. And one time I did ask him if it was really, I asked them if it really is their name, Coffin, and
yeah, you did on this show, and it's a family.
It's a good question. It's a valid question.
Well, no, I think a lot of people probably wonder if Coffin is truly Peter's last name, but it's a real last name.
Could be just like I was going through that goth phase, and then
the goth phase, and it's stuck. No, it's a great punk name.
Oh, it is. Oh my God, that's so true.
Such a good punk name. But yeah, anyway. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. I'm going to remind everybody, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because a lot of people remember to watch, you tune in, but then you don't hit the subscribe button. We need your subs in order to hit those milestones on YouTube so we can get monetized and actually start making an income. And of course, the folks on Rumble and the Rumble room, especially, keeping it real hot. If you're in the position, you can very easily become a paid subscriber there at just $5 a month by hitting that subscribe button right below the chat zone there in the Rumble room. So we can keep doing the show. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, you find value in this, and you enjoy laughing with us in the mornings, because Ted, for a lot of people, especially on the West Coast or as you go further west, this is a morning show for them. And I mean, there are some morning shows that are just not that informative and not that fun. Like, let's be honest.
Well, wait. There's always The View, the most intellectual.
Oh my God. Yes. Clearly, just the brightest minds there. Brightest minds. And they're not vitriolic or bitchy or anything.
Whoopi Goldberg, who I met many years ago, used to be a very intelligent person. I think her mind literally rotted from being on that show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shame. Well, good to know. But, all these other people, yeah. So this make us your morning show and help support us however you can. If you can,
I was
even
invited
share.
to be on The View one time, and I didn't know what it was.
Oh, back then.
Everyone, this was in the day, right? Like 25 years ago. And, or maybe not that long ago, maybe 20 years ago, but it's been on a long time.
Yeah. And, Barbara Walters was she founded the show, and she was
she was still on
panelist.
She was still on it. So it must have been late 90s, early 2000s. Anyway, she said
early 2000s, yeah.
And I was like, what is it? And several people were like, do not ever go on The View. Do not even watch The View. It's bad for your brain cells. It's where idiocy lives. And I was like, considering we're talking about morning television, that's saying a lot.
Well,
and they were right. That was true.
They're spot on. Sure.
I'm not unhappy that I didn't go on.
Well, like I said, if you are enjoying finding a morning program that is both informative and smart and funny, and we have unique guests on here, please do find a way to support us. If it's possible, just share the channel. That will help us grow.
Spread the word.
You will be helping us. So we
true.
would greatly appreciate that. So anyway, we'll be back for a Friday conversation tomorrow. No idea what we're going to talk about, because for all we know, planes are going to come falling out of the sky, skidding into brick walls or whatever.
40,000-year-old nematodes will come back and kill us all.
Don't know. It just because it's 2025. You really can't predict, Ted. It's just, I don't have, none of the stuff I've had on my 2025 bingo card has come true. Like this.
It's only been 9 days. Manila, you're like acting like we're way into the year. We're not.
9 days is a long time in 2025 when
No,
the world
it's
is
not.
come to an end, Ted.
It's not.
World War III is on the doorstep. Joe Biden has 11 more days in office. We can get nuked at any point.
Don't worry, that can happen under Trump too. We'll be fine.
I think it's less likely. So anyway,
we'll
that's
see.
going to do it for us. That's going to do it. Ted and I will be back tomorrow for Friday. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Adios.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.